Welcome, welcome, and thank you for joining me for another Conversations with Roslyn. So, you know that this week we are taming overwhelm. Oh boy, do we need that about right now? Um, the question came, something's happening to my video, but the question came as to what do we do with what do we do with I don't know what that means. Excuse me, guys. So what do I do when my brain is just covered with swirling thoughts and I'm trying to get a presentation done and I suddenly get filled with anxiety, and every time I turn around it happens to me. I don't know what to do. And so that brought me to, let's have a discussion about taming overwhelm. So, there's two types of overwhelm. Um, there's an overwhelm that you get from there's a task and goal oriented overwhelm, right? Um, there's also an emotional type of overwhelm, right? And although that they actually do kind of intersect with each other, they are very different. And so the foundation for task and goal oriented overwhelm generally comes from when you set a goal or a task, maybe with a specific time limit or a specific date that it needs to be done. And, that begins, that's something that kind of feeds into when the overwhelm starts to come. And then there's a emotional type of overwhelm that derives generally from an event or an action that has happened. Like, say, for instance, this week there's been a lot of things happening nationally, socially, that can create a lot of um, anxiety and overwhelm between COVID and the unfortunate circumstances that are happening with people getting hurt and even dying. So there's those types. Today, we're going to focus on task goal orientate. Sorry, we're going to focus on task and goal overwhelm, because that's what we faced in most of our days, in most of the time, right? So when we look at it, um, what causes it? Usually it's pressure to get things done by that specific time that you set, by that date. It is, fitting everything into an already full schedule, right? It's like I've already got a zillion things to do. It's like, how am I going to fit this in? How am I going to get this done on this date and this set that I've set? I've got to get it done. I've got to get it done. Even the question of your ability to do it can oftentimes like start bringing up this feeling of overwhelm, right? And so what happens when overwhelm starts to come? What happens with, okay, I'm starting to feel like this, what do I do? What's happening? So notice what's happening when you're starting to feel that overwhelm. You're feeling anxiety, you're feeling frustration, you're feeling, procrastination. You're feeling that negative thoughts start coming. You start over analyzing things. All types of things begin to happen. You start looking like, okay, what should I do with this? And I've got to get this done. And it seems like the world is just spinning and passing you by with this time frame that you've set for yourself. But yet and still you feel like that you're just standing still in the middle of a swirling circle of thoughts and anxieties. And so it's at this point that it's time to take control, right? It's time to kind of take control of the wheel, so we would say, right? So, we would say, well, let's say take control of the map, because we like to say, Jesus, take the wheel, right? And so it's like, yeah, Jesus, take the wheel. So I tell you what, we'll take the map, all right? Because we're going to let Jesus drive, right? Um, so this is at the time that you begin to, take control, take, um, start to build a map. It's like an important step for you. And I do have my notes today, so stick with me. I want to stay on track with you. But this is where we go into 3 steps that I want to share with you about how do you take control of this overwhelm and of this anxiety and frustration and procrastination and overanalyzing and feeling and questioning of, I've got to get this done, I have this time, I have all this. So let's talk about 3 steps. All right, so the first step is you got to shift your mindset. And again, let me back up here, because you all know that I'm pretty straightforward with you. And I know that as soon as someone starts telling you, well, you need to, stop, or you need to, shift the way you're thinking, you need to write this and do all that. And you go, yeah, I don't even have time for that. Didn't I just tell you that I was in the middle of overwhelm? Yeah, see, that's where sometimes the problem lies. And so I want you to stick with me, right? Listen to me, stick with me, and, just try to take some of these as a beginning process. So when I say shift your mindset, I'm saying notice where the overwhelm begins, right? When does it start happening? When do those thoughts start coming? One thing they come is when you say, I have to get this done at a certain time. I have to get this done on this certain day. When the fact of the matter is that you really don't have to do anything, right? You don't. You chose to do it. Why did you choose to do it? You chose to do it to work on that promotion, to maintain or keep your job or your position, or maybe you chose to do it because you wanted to upgrade the house at that point in time. The kids, you wanted to have them prepared, ready to go with everything they need and where they need to be on time, right? But you chose to do all those things, and that's great. So what do you do now? You have to now focus on the reward of why you chose to do those things, right? So what's going to happen? How are you going to feel? Are you inching towards that promotion? Are you making sure that this activity that you're going to do is going to solidify your value to the company? All of those types of things. Are the kids going to be great and happy, and they're going to look good because you got all their stuff together, and they made it there on time, and they're part of that event that is important to their lives? So that's the reward. So that's why it's important that you take the time, shift your mindset to that, to understand you didn't have to do it, you chose to do it, and there's a reward to it, right? So the next step that we talk about is, I like to say that it comes from Beyonce's famous line of, uh, world, stop. So, world stop is one of the most pronoun things. We also find it to be one of the hardest things to do, right? This simply means that you have to take some time somewhere, somehow, and stop the world, right? Now, it's funny how the number one issue with overwhelm is usually something along the lines of, I don't have time. I can't do this. The world is passing me by. I set this time. Time is going around. I can't do anything. You notice the frantic type of feeling, right? And that's the number one thing with overwhelm. So you say, well, Rosalind, how am I supposed to stop when I'm already on a deadline that time has passed me by and I can't meet? Well, that's when it's important that you take some time, you sit down, be still, be still. I don't want to hear this thing about, well, I can and where I can't do it here and there. There's always even a bathroom. Okay. If there's no place that you can have some privacy and quiet time, it's the restroom. So whether it's there, whether you can take a space in your room for a moment, any of those places, sit down, be still. I want you to then just close your eyes and breathe. Just breathe. But here's the catch. I want you to notice your breathing and don't pay attention to anything else. Now you can set aside 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever you have, and just focus on nothing else but breathing. Now, what's going to happen? Thoughts are going to come. Those same thoughts that are clouding your mind that made you need to sit. This is what I want you to know. Thoughts, just like they do in your everyday life, they come and they go all day long, all day. At this point, I want you to let them come and I want you to let them go. The problem with thoughts when we get into overwhelm is that we capture each one of them. Like, they're racing in a NASCAR and we capture them, and we try our best to solve it, to say, oh, okay, and we assign something to it. Don't do it. Let it come. And then let it go. Listen to each one of those breaths. Feel each one of those breaths. It's not always easy at first. I'm not saying it's easy at first. I'm saying do it. Okay? You do that, and then you can regroup. You'd be surprised at what that does for you. So then we move into step 3. And step 3 is something that you're able to do more once you start being able to just stop the world and breathe, right? You got to eliminate the unnecessary thoughts and actions, right? So how do you do that? Well, this requires intent. With this, you have to intentionally remove those thoughts, intentionally eliminate them. Focus on what it is that you set out to do. Remember, we talked earlier about the reward, right? Think about that reward, that feeling that you want and that you have. And all those other thoughts, the same way when you stop the world, you stop and you make a conscious decision. Yeah, I'm not capturing that thought right now. I'm focused here. I'm not capturing it. When I'm going around in circles, it's like, what was I doing? And I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Stop. This is another place that you have to sit down and do something. You have to create that map. Create that roadmap on the steps you have to do, no matter how small or mundane it seems. It's like, why am I writing this? I don't even have time to write this. You do, because you're spending more time procrastinating, going in circles, over analyzing. Take time and decide what you want to do. Write those steps out. Okay? And when you start feeling yourself going in those circles, going and you don't know what to do, simply, whether it's on your phone, on a pad, or whatever, go back and look at that step that you said you needed to do in order to accomplish this. And I don't care if it is picking up something, whatever it is, you follow that action, you do that action. You're now one step closer, one foot in front of the other, to gaining and getting to the place that you chose to go, and to gaining that award. And that award is accomplishment, okay? To accomplish what you set out to do. And so I know it seems like it might be something that's like, yeah, I don't know how to do that. I challenge you to try it. I challenge you to try it. You can always go back. I'll post this video. You can always go back and look back at them and say, what were those steps again? And just try it. So that's what I wanted to share with you today in our little 15-minute conversation, is to, you can tame the overwhelm but you have to be intentional about it. And at the end of it, your reward will be unclouded accomplishment. So I hope that helps you for today. Remember to comment, like, share, and again, you can see this post. I will repost it for you if your friends or anybody happen to miss it or anything like that. Um, I want you to know that also too, if you're in the process of making a life transformation and you know that you want this life transformation and you don't know how to do it, and you know that you need help, and you're open to looking at hiring me to be your mentor coach that can help you get through to where you want to be, then send me a message. We can begin the conversation on how I can help you do that. And and if there's anything that you need with groups or anything like that, I'm also available for that. And so from that, I will see you all on next week. And I am looking forward to your questions so that we can have great discussion on the things that you need to help you to be all that you choose to be and to live a life of vibrancy, break down those blocks, and live the life that you deserve. Thanks for joining me. Once again, I will see you all next week. Have a great week, guys. Bye bye now.